What is self-talk? Self-talk is the way you talk to yourself. People talk to themselves at a rate of 150 to 300 words per minute. That is roughly 50,000 times a day. In fact, as you read this book, you may also have a simultaneous dialogue with yourself. As you internalize what is written on this chapter, you may also think of the items listed on your to-do list. Your self-talk of internal thinking occurs through your mind's conscious area. You may not be aware that your self-talk actually becomes instructions for your subconscious mind, whose main task is to fulfill orders sent to it by your conscious mind. Your subconscious is your own personal servo mechanism that works on your behalf non-stop. How self-talk works. Think of an ocean liner and imagine it crossing the sea. The ship's captain barks orders to his crew. However, the crew is in the hold of the ship, which is below the waterline, so they have no idea where the ship is going. You can think of the captain as your conscious mind and the crew as your subconscious mind. When the captain yells at the crew to go full speed ahead, the crew obeys. They carry out the orders even though they cannot really see where they're heading. They simply do not think of the ship colliding with another ship or with rocks. They do not question the judgment of their captain. That is basically how your conscious and subconscious minds work. They're not really separate, but rather individual spheres of a singular mind. Thus, whatever you tell yourself consciously can affect your subconscious mind. If you keep engaging in negative self-talk, your subconscious mind will receive a negative message, which it will act out later. On the other hand, if you keep engaging in positive self-talk, it will always yield positive results. Just like the crew of the ship in the above given example, your subconscious mind does not question your conscious mind. Whatever the conscious mind keeps saying, the subconscious mind receives without judgment. The science of self-talk. Now that you've learned how self-talk works, you should learn about the science behind it. David Sarwer, clinical director and psychologist at the Center for Right and Eating Disorders at the University of Pennsylvania, uses a mirror when dealing with patients. He makes them stand in front of the mirror and coaches them to use a neutral and gentle language when evaluating their bodies. For example, a patient should say that his abdomen is big, round, and bigger than he likes it to be, rather than his abdomen is grotesque and disgusting. According to Sarwer, his goal is to get rid of the pejorative and negative terms in his patient's self-talk. He adds that it is not enough for his patients to lose or gain weight. They should also change the way they view their bodies. In 2013, scientists from the Netherlands conducted a study involving women with anorexia. They watched the women walk through the doorways of the laboratory. They noticed that the women turned sideways ever so slightly and seemed to squeeze themselves into the doorways, even though there is literally lots of space available. This happened because the anorexic women had this notion that their bodies are much bigger than they actually are. In a similar study conducted way back in 1911, neurologist Dr. Gordon Morgan Holmes and Dr. Henry Head published a series of studies detailing the connection of the brain and the body. They found that women who often wore large hats with feathers on them would duck whenever they walked through doorways, even when they were not wearing their hats. This happened because in the mind, they were wearing the hats, even though they actually weren't. According to Dr. Branch Coslett, a cognitive neuroscientist at the University of Pennsylvania, people have their own internal representation of their bodies. You need this part of yourself in order